Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Great. Okay, so today we're going to learn a library that allows you to create visualization in JavaScript fairly simply called Vega-Lite. While I'm showing you things today in class, we are going to use a website called Observable. We've asked you to sign up, create accounts. So please do that, and I will walk you through creating Vega-Lite visualizations using the data sets that are in here, and then you'll see the assignments will have a similar flavor, but you will use Vega-Lite to do your assignments. Okay, so now we're going to first start by a recap of what we learned about these concepts in visualization. So let me just go and bring in these. Okay, so I'm just gonna, so I just need to get the columns. Okay, so here's what we're going to start thinking about. Before we make our visualizations in Vega-Lite, I want you to think about the data, the marks, the encodings, and how we're going to think about that. So first, tell me, what data type is timestamp? Ordinal? Yes, temporal. And it's an ordinal, but temporal is specifically made for time. So it's still ordinal, but it's a specific type of ordinal. So temporal. So the One Piece rating question, which is how would you rate your the One Piece anime? What is the data type for this? It is ordinal. Correct. It's a number, right? So you could treat it as a quantitative. So you could take the average. So it all also depends on how you want to think about it, right? But it is an ordinal data set, but because it's from 1 to 9, you could also treat it as a quantitative and maybe do an average, right? Both is possible. So I think the Taylor Swift haters question has a similar answer. So what would be the response for game genre? What would be the data type? I'm waiting for your responses. There you go. It's nominal or categorical. So you want to really remember this because this will become a big chunk of how you will make visualizations, right? That's why So this is a nominal. Whenever you see categories, in general, whenever you see a text type of field, it's usually either ordinal or most likely categorical, okay? Dinner response is the same. And the tiredness rating is the same. So what responses did we have? 1, 2, I'm just going to try to make a visualization by hand. Then we're going to do a Vega-Lite visualization. Okay? So for the One Piece rating, we have these values. Okay? So whenever you want to create a visualization, there are multiple things that you need to think about. After you've decided at what field you're visualizing or fields, right? What you're gonna do is to decide what mark you're gonna create. Marks are those visual things that you're gonna use to represent your data, right? So let's say each of these rows in our data set, each of these rows is one of your responses. If you say, I'm going to use a circle mark, then that means that each of these rows would be represented by a circle. Okay? So now, if we decide that all of our circles, all of our rows will be represented by a circle, so this would be the mark that we're choosing to create a response to this question. For One Piece rating, we're going to use the circle mark, okay? Then what should we decide? We're going to decide how. Actually, we're not saying that the one piece rating is going to be represented by a mark. We're going to say each row is going to be represented by a mark. Okay, that was a mistake on my end, right? So then maybe after you've chosen the mark for each of the rows, you're going to say how some of these attributes that you have for your data set are going to change the way the circles look. Okay, and that's called encoding. So you're going to use different encoding channels, right? So now let's just say that for the one piece rating, let me make this bigger a little bit. You're going to use the position channel. What does that mean? So let's say you want to represent all rows based on responses on the one piece question using the mark circle and the position channel. Here's what we would do. We would say, okay, for the first row, the response for the one piece anime is 4, right? So let's just say this is 9 and this is 1. If the response was 1, the position of the first row would be here. If it was 9, it would be here. If it's 4, it will be somewhere here. Okay? So now you've created your first row. Then you will repeat for the second row. Why is there a 12? Oh, we're counting. Okay. Okay, so the first one is 8. My apologies. And then the second one is a 5. It's at the center, right? I'm just taking the marks for each of the rows. I'm looking at the one piece rating, and then I'm saying, okay, I'm using the position channel. So that means on the x-axis, the circles are going to be placed on appropriate positions. And then you will have sort of a visualization like this. Obviously, most people would love one piece, so we have a lot of points here, right? And then we have some here. Some people might be one piece haters, and then maybe a lot of people just don't have like much of an opinion here. Okay, so we'll have a data visualization like this. So now we've used the visualization, the channel, to do this. Okay, you could do the same thing for Taylor Swift haters, right? For the question, what is the question? How would you rate Taylor Swift? Okay, so that would be the other question, right? So you could replace the same thing, right, on the x-axis, or you could just create a separate visualization and visualize the Taylor Swift haters on the y-axis, right? It'll be the same logic, right? You're gonna say, okay, this is 1, this is 9, or the other way around, right? So you're gonna have a 9 on the top, you're gonna have a 1 on the bottom, and then all the people who are haters, which probably there's more, are gonna be here. And then maybe there's like a few people. We're not judging anyone's opinions, we're just predicting, right? So here we're using the Y channel to create the visualization, or the Y position channel. You could do the same thing with a rectangle with a mark, with any sorts of different marks. You could use positions. Remember we had bivariate visualizations? So it'll be the same idea, right? One circle on the x-axis would be placed for the one piece rating, and then maybe it would be here. And if that person likes One Piece but hates Taylor Swift, it would be here. If they like One Piece and then love Taylor Swift as well, it will be here. Okay, so here you will have a scatter plot. Will show you how One Piece haters and how Taylor Swift haters relate to each other. And then you can use other channels. You can change the property of this, you don't have to use position only, right? You can also say, okay, I'm going to map the tiredness rating to color. So maybe people who are very tired will be red. This is not a position encoding anymore. And then people who are not tired would be green maybe, right? We're going to use some semantics here. And then the people who are in between maybe would be, what's in between red and orange? I don't remember. Let's just say blue. I don't know. So here we have used 3 channels to create our visualizations. Any questions so far? This process is how you think about creating visualizations as a visualization expert. Because you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You're not going to say, I want a scatter plot. A scatter plot is for noobs, or a bar chart is for noobs. What you want to do, you want to say, I want to use a circle mark, and then I want to map the one piece rating attribute, the column, to the Y, Y position, map the Taylor Swift haters responses to the X position, and map the color, map the tiredness rating to the color. And then you will call this a scatter plot, or if you've done other things. Okay? So far, so good? All right. Open up your observables. I'm gonna go grab a water, and we're gonna come back, and then we'll be working on observables. Do you have your observables open? Eddie, can you share the responses final?
The CSV file?
I'm sending it to you.
Okay. Share it where?
Maybe on Discord first.
Okay, put it on Discord for guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna share the CSV with you, and you can follow with me using the same data set of the survey that you just responded to. Yeah, maybe like put it on Canvas as well, for if anyone doesn't. Is there anyone who can't use Discord? Maybe you can attach it on Zoom as well. Is it possible?
I think it is, yeah. And
Okay, so the way you would start creating Vega-Lite, and I'm just going to create a new notebook. Click on blank, and it will give me something like this. It's an empty notebook. Vega-Lite observable deals with multiple types of inputs, right? So the first thing it'll give you is just text for annotation. So you can type making visualizations with Vega-Lite. And then if you hit Control and Command or Command Enter, it'll make it like an annotation text. To create new cells, you will click on the plus button. And then you can either create new Markdown or JavaScript. So we're going to use 3 things that I'm going to paste in the Zoom chat. You don't need to worry about what they are, but copy these 3 lines and repeat with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the first line and then hit Command and Enter or Control and Enter, and then create a new JavaScript line. I'm going to get the second one, paste it here, hit Command and Enter. That'll run the JavaScript block, and then you will do the third. Then I'm going to create another Markdown and say loading data, because we're going to now load the data. Okay? Please monitor the chat, because if I'm looking at many different things. So in order to load data in Observable.
Oh yeah, they cannot copy these commands from Zoom. Yeah. I will put them. Yeah.
Thank you. So in order to attach a file, you will get the file that we just shared with you, and you can just create a new file attachment by clicking on plus and then you can just upload the CSV. So now we're going to read the file. Okay, so I'm going to create a new JavaScript line and just say survey responses equals file attachment, and then because you've already uploaded this, you can just hit command and enter. So now we've read the file. Let's just call this, change the name actually. So just say survey responses file. Okay? Now we've read the CSV. I'm just going to create a new JavaScript block. I'm just going to say survey responses equals survey responses file dot CSV. And then you're going to say type true because you want to include the type with it. I want you to type with me and then hit shift and enter. Then if you want to see the table, you can just see create a table and it will show you the data in Observable. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes for y'all to, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I'm going to wait for you guys to load the data. I can make the window wider. Is that good? I can actually make it full screen for now. And let's make it a little bit larger as well.
Could you please repeat the process?
So the first thing is that you want to click on this thing that looks like a file, click on this plus button and attach the file. When you do that, it'll show up here with the name of the CSV that you've used. Then you will write these two lines. Survey response file equals file attachment, and type exactly like I have. And then inside of it, with quotations, inside of this function call, just type the name of your CSV, which should be responsive final.csv. This reads the file, and then this creates a data set for you. The big title, when you create a new block anywhere, you can click on Markdown. When you click on Markdown, you can type Markdown. And if you want to know what Markdown is, just look it up. It has a few ways of creating H1s, H2s, etc. So one hashtag is a H1, two hashtags is H2, three hashtags is H3, etc. So here is an example of an H3, I believe. And then now it'll create that for you.
A quick reminder for you is that don't get caught up with the exact syntax, okay? Because you're gonna repeat them again in the future, so you're gonna practice them.
Yeah.
If you try to understand the principal use cases of each command, that would be much more helpful. Yeah, because syntax, you don't have to memorize syntax.
Yeah, just type with me and ask. These are good questions. Type with me and you'll have plenty of time to work this. How you get to the first line of survey responses file? I don't understand that question. You just click and they create a JavaScript block, and then whenever you do that, you can type JavaScript and this is the output of whatever you call here. Which line before that? Yeah. Those weird things that you see are essentially outputs of whatever you call here. And again, let me clarify why we're doing Observable. First of all, Observable is a notebook system online that you can run JavaScript in and make visualizations. It's a really good place for prototyping different types of visualizations. However, we will show you how you can take what you try out here because it's quick. You don't have to do any setup. You can just do it in the browser and then put it in your website. Essentially, you can take your Vega-Lite code from here and just put it in your website. And there, you'll just running normal code. But here, it has these weird quirks. It's really useful for creating quick visualizations and exploring data and stuff like that. If you want to see the table, after you've called the survey responses file.csv, you just click on this yellow button that it will create for you, and then you say, give me a table. Okay, we need to move on. Do you all have your data loaded? Thumbs up. Okay, good.
Okay, they all have their data. Riley says, I'm getting the syntax error. I'm going to share it.
Share it on Discord. Yeah, Mehdi is there. If whoever is getting bugs, go to Discord live while I'm doing things, and we can, because we need to move on. Okay, so these first 3 lines, the first one is the important one. VL is your Vega-Lite library. Okay, so here, after we've loaded the data, which is our survey responses, what we are going to do is to create a markdown part, and we're just going to say starting with visualization, right? And then I'm just going to create a JavaScript block. I'm going to start looking at how Vega-Lite works. You, as people who do programming, you should be comfortable with looking at documentations, right? But this is just to get you started. So the way this works is that you can say VL. The first thing that you tell Vega-Lite is what type of mark you want to use. So we can use different marks. You can use area, rect, rule, trail, circle, etc. What we're going to use now is point. So the first thing you will type is VL dot mark point, and then you can change. You can call another function. So we're gonna now give it the data. What is the name of our data file? Data variable is called survey responses. The headings in the doc is by clicking the plus button and then clicking on markdown. And then you can type with 2 hashtags. But don't worry about the headings. This is not that important. So the variable we had here is called survey responses. So you can just copy that and paste it as data. So we're reading that variable. And then we're going to say render. You're just going to see 1 circle here. So what's wrong? Why are we seeing 1 circle? Because we have not set encodings yet. That's why this is actually not 1 circle. This is about 42 or 3 circles on each other, because you have not set any channels for your points, or these points that you created, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit enter with each of these in different lines, right? So we say mark point. The next one we're going to call .data. Then here we're just going to say encode, okay? And then what you are going to do is you're going to say, again, inside of the encode function, you're going to say VL. Now you want to map this to the X channel. So you're going to say VL.X, and then you can set the field that you want to visualize. All right? So what field do we want to visualize? We first want to see one-piece ratings. So we're going to say, I'm just going to copy this and then paste it here. So you're going to say field one-piece rating, and then you're going to define the type, which for us, it could be quantitative, it could be ordinal. So I'm just going to say ordinal, and then let's see how that works. So why do you think this happened? We are positioning all the circles along the y-axis, but they're still overlapping with each other. Let's try quantitative to see what happens. See, quantitative will also show you the rest of, for one piece, we never had a 4 or a 2. So I actually like this better. It doesn't matter. The data is ordinal, but you can visualize it as a quantitative. So now if we want to map another attribute to another channel, you can simply, am I going too fast? Are you able to follow? So we should be good. And I'm gonna slow down every few steps that we take, and then we should be able to, and then we're gonna see now Taylor Swift haters. Paste it here, and then just say type. So now we're mapping the Taylor Swift haters column to the Y position. And you're just gonna say quantitative again. So we see some patterns, but there's still a lot of overlaps, right? So we're having some issues. But what are we learning from here? There are a lot of One Piece lovers. They're shown here. This is cool.
Can you scroll up for a second?
Scroll up. Okay, so we've learned to map things on position for two ordinal or quantitative attributes. But we want to do something else. This is not the right visualization for us. This doesn't tell us how we're reading things, right? I'm deliberately showing you this because you wanna do some other type of visualization. And again, don't worry about this file. I have another example with hip hop data sets that you can use to see a lot of different type of things. So now let's plan our next visualization in Figma. So how do we want to visualize this one piece rating? Maybe on the y-axis, I want to go, hey, for each of these lines, map the y position of the visualization of the points on their actual one piece rating, right? And then count the same column and create a bar like this. Maybe this is what we want to create. Okay, again, we're gonna go use the y position for the rating, and then maybe count each occurrence, and then visualize it. So we're gonna come back to, I'm gonna create another markdown. Let's say bar chart. Good way of saying a chart with y-axis for position of one piece rating and x-axis for count of occurrences, and the mark is bar. So I'm going to create a JavaScript again. One thing there is a shortcut for doing this 2 times. Let me also show this to you. So this is quantitative. Instead of saying field one piece rating dot type, which is totally fine, you can also just say field Q and just get rid of the type. It does the same thing. So it's a shortcut. It says you're given a name, but the field is going to be quantitative. Okay, so now we're gonna make a bar chart. Again, I'm gonna say VL mark bar this time. And then data should be survey responses. Okay? Then we're going to call render at the end. Render is always at the end. And just hit enter. Hit enter. This is the basic building block. And then you're just going to go encode. And inside of encode, you're going to create the thing that we talked about. So for the y position, we're going to go VL dot y, and then we're going to go field O, I believe, and then one piece rating. And then for the x, I'm just going to go VL dot x. I'm going to repeat one piece rating. Maybe this shouldn't be I think this will work, but it could also be named nominal because we're just going to count. And you're just going to say aggregate. So this is going to take the same field aggregated, and then we're just going to say count. Fingers crossed. Now we have a bar chart. Now we're getting to the fun part. We're going to see which of these is winning. So I'm just going to quickly create another bar chart for Taylor Swift with the exact same way. Survey responses, encode. Inside of encode, I'm just going to say VLY dot field O.
Somebody's asking what's the difference between field O and field Q.
O is ordinal and Q is quantitative. Even if you do O here, it should work, I think. Let me try. Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you say aggregate, it's going to take this field and then count it and create like a new data set. But let me just say field O is exactly this. If you say field one piece rating and then go type, ordinal. Okay? So I'm just going to go field and then no problem. Now we're going to bring in the Taylor Swift haters column. So the y-axis is Taylor Swift haters, and then the x-axis is field O, again Taylor Swift haters, aggregate, count. Are you ready? Which one has more haters? So the one should be, or which do you think one is larger? I think Taylor Swift has more lovers because this is there's no One Piece lover. So let's see. Oh, and then we have to type render at the end. Do not forget. Oh my God, One Piece has more. I guess Taylor Swift has more haters, right? Yeah.
We can't say that people are more sure about how they feel towards One Piece comparing to Taylor Swift.
Or less sure, right? There's a lot of 8s and 9s. There's 16 5s. 5s are people who don't care, I think.
Yeah, but they know what they feel about.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, so there's way more Taylor Swift haters. I think the Taylor Swift opinions are more spread out as well.
Yeah. Spread out.
There's no 2s for One Piece, but there's a lot of 2s and there's a lot of 3s for Taylor Swift. There's 2 people who absolutely hate her. And then there's like a couple of people who love her, but then there's a few people who are just cool with it. They're like more interested in it. Okay, it's cool.
We can wait for a couple of minutes to see if they have any questions.
Get these 2 visualizations done, and we're gonna see what else we can do.
Guys, are you okay with the pace? Have you been able to follow what we're trying to explain here?
Yeah, it seems like it.
I'm interested to see how they have answered the last question.
Yeah, we're gonna see tiredness as well.
Yeah.
Do y'all wanna just try?
How to make the table be bigger?
Which table?
You mean the bar charts? The bar charts.
I will, to make it bigger, I'll have to look it up. There's a way to modify the size of the chart. I'll send the information to you later. I don't know.
I'm gonna write it down.
We can look it up together, but there is some modification for chart size. Okay, so the data is exactly the same, okay? I'm just gonna show you what it means to switch X and Y. So it's very simple. You can just go, if you wanna flip this chart, you can just say, okay, make the X something and the Y something else. And this becomes vertical versus a horizontal chart. So it matters how you define your channel and your encoding. Yeah, please go ahead and do the tiredness rating and see what the results are. And then we're gonna see what are the most popular games and stuff.
Oh, you're searching it too?
Yeah.
You can simply add dot width dot height before the render.
Like this.
Yeah, 800. You can set the numeral value, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, the size of the bar is with dot width and dot height. Yeah.
That's the job.
Thank you.
This class is barely awake according to the data.
Okay, let's see. I'm now interested to see how tired people are. Okay, very quickly, I'm just going to repeat. Mark bar, data, survey responses, encode, and then just do this, render at the end so you won't forget. And then we're just going to do vl.y. Yes, it is being recorded. And then we will share some other resources as well. We already have a bunch of tutorials in the GitHub as well. Field O. Let me just get the name, tiredness rating, and then vl.x. Field O, doesn't matter, tiredness rating, aggregate. Yep. This class is extremely tired. And thank you for taking the time to come to class with this 9 rating. Wow.
If they were that tired in the beginning of the class, I'm wondering how they're feeling right now.
Yeah, how tired y'all
How
are.
are you keeping up?
Went from a 5 to a 7. Okay, let's take 5 minutes, do, a bio break, and we'll continue. That is a good question. The new assignment will be on Vega-Lite. You'll have plenty of time to use Vega-Lite for your next assignment. Yes, our next assignment is Vega-Lite. Yeah. Good question. I'll be back. Okay. Have you had any questions?
No, we have.
Okay. Okay, let's try something weird together. Now let's plan something again. Where is my fig jam? So we have, how many genres was there was there a lot? I don't know, let's just go with the dinner response. Okay, I want to make a new visualization with the dinner response. Okay, so what can we do? Dinner response is categorical. Okay, it's nominal. So we can basically map the position of our data using a nominal value. Okay? It'll be here. And then we can do a bar chart that counts the number of occurrences, right? But we don't have to use bar charts, right? We could do maybe the position would be on the y-axis, and then there will be a circle for each of these, and then the size of the circle would be the number of times. Let's try both of these, okay? So then what are we going to do? We're going to map the position to y and map the count to size. Okay. Let's just make the bar chart first so that we have something to compare it to. So again, survey responses, encode, and then we're just going to do render. Then inside of encode, this time we're just going to do vl.y field n because we want to use the nominal dinner responses as the position. Okay? And then for x, we're just going to use count. Field n dinner responses aggregate count. So most people would make a steak. One person would make
Inquiry dumpling.
Yeah. Okay. Split diversity. Cool. Now let's just make this visualization with another mark. You don't need to change anything much. So this is a really repeatable pattern. You will change the mark to circle, the Y position, right, would be, and then you're not doing anything with the X, you're just setting the size. You're setting the size of the circles to aggregate.
Can you show the code again, please?
You're not seeing the code?
They should be able to see the code here. For the mark circle.
Oh, it's here. So if you want to position everything on the x-axis, you can just change this to x. This very quickly happens. Let's change the x and y for the bar chart as well. I'm gonna say height should be 400. 200. I want to just reduce the height a little bit. Okay. All right. Do you see how easier it is to tell the differences between circles for comparing quantitative values? It is just not as easy. So like size of a rectangle is a much better way because it's position encoded, right? Because you're comparing things along one axis as opposed to trying to compare the size of circles. Let's see what happens if we want to do color. I'm just winging it right now. So if I just say VL color, and if I just use the same, right? So I just want to double encode. Now it makes it a little bit easier to compare. So sometimes you don't have to use different like encodings for the same thing. You can double encode something. You can say, I'm just going to do both color and circle to make the information more accessible to people. But here's in general how you set the color of your circle. You can do the same thing for the bars, but don't do it because using like bar is already easy to read. But if you just want to color code it as well, you can just go VL color. And again, you can just do field N, dinner response, aggregate count. See, you're now adding double encoding. So you're both encoding the color of your mark based on the dinner response count and the height of it, the height of the bar.
Can we also do a two-dimensional diagram? One axis shows the level of fatigueness and the other shows the meal they want to make.
The level of what?
Fatigueness. How
Okay.
much they feel tired.
Yeah, we can.
One axis shows,
Yeah, let's make,
and circle shows the number of people who are feeling this much tired and they want to make this for them.
let's see if we can make it. So what Mehdi is asking is essentially, again, we go to our FigJam planner. We're gonna use y-axis as categories and the x-axis is how tired people are. And then there will be circles, and the size of the circle would be the number of people in that thing. It's not that difficult. So you just go VL. We're going to use a mark circle. The data would be survey responses. You're going to encode it, and then you're going to render it. So what would we need to do? We're going to go VL Y would be field N dinner response. VL X would be field N tiredness rating, I think. Let's just see, we have it here.
Tiredness rating. Well, you have to paste it in the. And it's gonna have circles, and the circle size is defined by
And then you say VL the size should be field and tiredness rating aggregate count. I think that's how you do it. Let's see. I aggregate. So for people who want to make steak, there's a lot of tired
Really?
people.
Yeah.
You want to get that steak to get.
Like all of the people who are willing to make a steak, they also feel the most tired.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we have 10 minutes left and we can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So this is enough for. We have someone waiting in the waiting room.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fine. It's too late. Should I don't know when they tried to join.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Fine, it's too late anyways. Okay. So here's a few things about next week and the assignment. By tomorrow, first of all, you will get your assignment 1 grade. By tomorrow, you will see the next assignment posted, which is a Vega-Lite assignment. What you will have to do is you will use Observable to prototype, and then you will take your visualization to your HTML website. We will send you a video, and there is a GitHub tutorial in our assignment, in our GitHub repository that shows you how to do that. But we will send you a short video that explains that. Vega-Lite has a documentation. Vega-Lite documentation. I did not show you this. The original way of doing things with Vega-Lite is with something called specs or specifications. The way it works is, let me show you an example. Vega-Lite, you just pass a JSON type to description to it. You say the mark is bar, and you define the encoding similar to this. It's possible that some of the examples you find for your assignments, because the assignment will have different things for you to create, and you want to create new visualizations. You might find something like this. We'll share how you can use this within Vega-Lite API. So Vega-Lite API is a wrapper around Vega-Lite that turns this, actually gets this and generates this for you, because it's just easier to read and write in JavaScript. Anyways, that was a general point about how you would use things. We'll send you information on how you want to do these types of things, and we'll move from there. There are a lot of examples that you can look at, and then you'll figure out how to create these things. Any other questions? I hope you're less tired. You're, instead of a 9, you are maybe a 3 or 4.
You should ask them if they're awake.
So we'll share a data set with you. You'll see our assignments, and you will, hopefully, all your problems with the assignment 2 are solved. Have fun with Vega-Lite. It's a fun library. You can use it in a lot of places really quickly. Try to learn some of the more interesting types of visualizations that you can create, but use the type of language that I showed you how to use today. Okay? Let us know if you have any questions. Ask your questions fast, like earlier than like Friday. And good luck. See y'all soon. See y'all on Thursday. Oh, by the way, we have a plan for anyone who hasn't joined the lectures. It's fine. We're going to have an opportunity which we will announce for people who cannot come on Thursdays to get a 5% extra grade. So rejoice. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. And bye-bye.